Steve Harvey, the king of comedy who transformed Family Feud into a global phenomenon. But behind that infectious smile lies a story of unimaginable struggle. From sleeping in a car for 3 years to becoming one of television's most powerful voices, this is the untold story of how a stuttering boy from Cleveland rose to become an entertainment legend. January 17, 1957. Welch, West Virginia. Steve Harvey was born into poverty as the youngest of 5 children. His father, Jesse, worked dangerous shifts in coal mines, while his mother, Eloise, stretched every penny as a teacher. When the family moved to Cleveland's rough East 112th Street, young Steve carried a painful stutter and an impossible dream. In elementary school, when asked to write about their future, Steve shakily scrawled, "I want to be on television." The room erupted in cruel laughter. His teacher ripped the paper in half, calling his parents to complain about his arrogance. A poor, stuttering black boy on TV? Impossible. But Steve's father had different plans. "Write it down again," Jesse commanded. "Put on your wall. Read it every morning and night. Make it your promise." Those words became gospel. Steve recited that dream like a prayer. Even his classmates mocked his stutter, and poverty defined his childhood. Years later, when Steve became a household name, he never forgot. Every Christmas, he sent his former teacher a new television with a note, a silent reminder that the boy she mocked was now in every living room in America. After graduating high school in 1974, Steve drifted through countless jobs: mail carrier, carpet cleaner, insurance salesman, mechanic, even boxer. Nothing filled the void. His dream felt more distant with each rejection, each empty paycheck. Then came October 1985. A friend dared him to try an open mic night at a Cleveland comedy club. With nothing left to lose, Steve stepped onto the stage. The first joke stumbled out, then another, and suddenly the room erupted with laughter. When the host handed him $50, Steve walked into the cold night with tears streaming down his face. "I was born tonight," he whispered. The next morning, he quit his job and never looked back. But destiny demanded its price. For 3 brutal years, Steve Harvey lived in his 1976 Ford. The car became his home, his kitchen, his prison. A cooler in the trunk served as his refrigerator. Gas station sinks were his bathroom. Cheap sandwiches stretched across days. And sometimes hunger was so intense that sleep became his only escape. "You can do it for a week," Steve later confessed. But 3 years? It was so depressing. Yet even in his darkest moments, he clung to his father's words, whispering his dream in the silence of that broken-down car. The breaking point almost came when he was ready to call home and surrender. But his answering machine held 2 messages: comedy gigs worth $300 total, just enough for a flight to New York, where Showtime at the Apollo wanted him on stage. Had he missed those calls by 1 moment, the Steve Harvey story might have ended in silence. 1990 marked Steve's breakthrough as a finalist in the Johnny Walker National Comedy Search. The same voice that once cracked with stutters now commanded thunderous applause. When Showtime at the Apollo opened its doors, Steve stepped onto that legendary Harlem stage, carrying the weight of hunger, ridicule, and nights spent shivering in a car. For 7 years, he hosted Apollo, transforming his scars into strength. Every laugh from the audience was armor against poverty, a shield against shame. But success came at a brutal cost: 18-hour days, endless flights, and a voice often frayed from overuse. In 1994, he starred in Me and the Boys, followed by The Steve Harvey Show in 1996. By the late 1990s, he had joined the original Kings of Comedy tour alongside Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and Bernie Mac. When Spike Lee captured their performances in the 2000 film, Steve's name was etched into comedy history. Success demanded sacrifices, and Steve's first family paid the heaviest price. In 1981, he married Marcia, and they had 3 children, twins Carly and Brandy, plus son Brodder Jr., but as Steve's career grew, he was absent more than present. Nights spent in comedy clubs meant mornings missed at home. The marriage crumbled under the weight of his ambition. "I lost my family chasing the dream," Steve would later admit with deep regret. The divorce in 1994 left him emotionally and financially devastated. The man who could make strangers roar with laughter couldn't stop the tears in his own house. His second marriage, to Mary Shackelford in 1996, brought hope, and their son Winton in 1997. But history repeated itself. Career demands created the same absences that destroyed his first marriage. By 2005, this divorce became a public nightmare, with accusations that slashed at his reputation. Though courts dismissed many claims, the damage to his image was severe. The worst was yet to come. In 2005, after his second divorce, Steve discovered he had only $1,700 in his bank account. Worse, a catastrophic accounting failure revealed that his taxes hadn't been filed for 7 years. Penalties and interest had snowballed into a mountain of debt that threatened to destroy everything. It was humiliating, Steve admitted, to have the world believe you're rich while you can't even breathe. He faced the possibility of prison, disgrace, and losing everything he'd fought for. But Steve did what survivors do. He fought back. Before sunrise each day, he was in radio studios. His morning show became a lifeline. Every joke paid for in fear, but keeping him moving forward. He worked until his body staggered, stacking opportunities on exhaustion. Out of this desperation came his books, Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man in 2009, followed by Straight Talk, No Chaser in 2010. Each page was both wisdom for readers and a financial lifeline for Steve. In 2010, Steve took over as host of Family Feud. Within 3 years, ratings exploded to historic highs. The same man who once lived in a car now appeared nightly in America's living rooms as the face of laughter itself. But the climb remained brutal. For years, every paycheck went straight to the IRS. Standing ovations were followed by nights of calculations, prayers, and fear that debt might still destroy him. I thought I was finished, he said, but God wasn't done with me. Dollar by dollar, performance by performance, he clawed his way back. The whispers of "you're finished" were drowned out by proof that resilience could turn disgrace into testimony. In 2005, bruised by scandal and nearly broken in spirit, Steve reunited with Marjorie Bridges, a woman he'd once seen in a Memphis crowd and declared he would marry. Years earlier, life had pulled them apart. Now, fate brought them together when he needed healing most. They married in 2007, and Marjorie did what fame and money never could. She steadied him. Where he'd been frantic, she brought calm. Where he felt fractured, she made him whole. 85% of everything I've came after I married her, Steve admits, not talking about wealth, but about peace. Together, they built a blended family of 7 children. Steve gave Marjorie's children his last name, and slowly they gave him their trust. In 2015, during a televised tribute, Jason, Marjorie's son, looked at Steve and said, "You gave me your last name. There's no one better than you, Dad." The auditorium fell silent as cameras caught Steve breaking down, not as a comedian or host, but as a man finally forgiven. For someone who once whispered, "I lost my first family chasing the dream," those words weren't just affection. They were grace made visible. Today, at nearly 70, Steve Harvey commands a global entertainment empire. Since 2010, he's been the face of Family Feud, filmed at Tyler Perry Studios in Atlanta. His morning radio show reaches millions daily. Through Steve Harvey Global, he's expanded internationally, with Family Feud versions in South Africa and Ghana. His business ventures include Elevate You, a wellness supplement line, proving his philosophy: never depend on one stream when you can create many. In 2020, he purchased Tyler Perry's former 17-acre Atlanta estate, a 35,000 square foot mansion worth $15 million, complete with hidden ballrooms and infinity pools. Yet shadows remain. Steve battles high blood pressure and sleep apnea, forcing him to maintain rigid health discipline. He's lost 30 pounds since turning 50 and follows a strict regimen of clean eating and daily exercise. "Health is my covenant with my family and audience," he insists. The Miss Universe era of 2015 still haunts him. That moment when he announced the wrong winner before a global audience. Though he owned the mistake and returned to host again, the humiliation lingers in endless memes and replays. And despite his wealth, the fear never completely fades. "I still think about $1,700, he confesses, not about the money, but the memory of how fragile security can be. Steve Harvey's story transcends comedy. It's a testament carved from trial and grace, proof that resilience can outlast ridicule, that faith can carry a man through fire, and that love can heal even the deepest scars. The boy who once doubted his voice now uses it not only to make the world laugh, but to remind it to hope. From a torn piece of paper in a Cleveland classroom to commanding global stages, Steve Harvey proves that dreams deferred are not always dreams denied. His journey reminds us that our lowest moments don't define our final chapters. They forge the strength needed to write better ones. Today, when Steve walks through his Atlanta mansion or steps onto the Family Feud stage, he carries every scar as a badge of honor. The stutter that once silenced him became the foundation of his authentic voice. The poverty that nearly broke him taught him the true value of abundance. The broken marriages that shattered his heart ultimately led him to a love deeper than he ever imagined possible. His greatest treasure isn't the mansions, the ratings records, or the awards collecting dust on shelves. It's the dinner table where every child, biological and adopted, sits together as family, where heated discussions about homework matter more than Hollywood contracts, where he's not Steve Harvey the icon, the multimillionaire, or the television legend. He's simply Dad. The man who once lay hungry in the back of a Ford now feeds dreams in living rooms across the globe. Every time a struggling comedian takes their first stage, every time someone rebuilds after divorce, every time a parent fights to reconnect with their children, Steve Harvey's story whispers the same truth. It's never too late to rewrite your ending. As Steve often says, applause fades, trophies gather dust, but family, discipline, and gratitude, these are the legacies that endure. The king of comedy's greatest victory wasn't conquering television, topping bestseller lists, or building a business empire. It was conquering the boy inside who once believed he wasn't worthy of love, success, or redemption. In healing himself, he gave the world permission to heal too.